Senator Moody.
Madam President, honourable colleagues, I rise to continue our debate on C-22, and I really do want to thank my colleagues for their comments so far. Let me state from the outset that I will vote in favour of this message, fully respecting the prerogative of the government, and mostly because the disability community has made it clear that they're satisfied with this bill in its current form. But I want to take a few moments to highlight the important work done on this committee by the Standing Committee on Social Affairs, Science and Technology, of which I am a member. Our chair, the Honourable Senator Umedvar, noted very clearly in her speech that at report stage, our committee heard 44 witnesses, in addition to receiving 48 briefs, 7 follow-ups, and 2 letters. And I want to add that many of our witnesses were members of the disability community and were given the accommodation needed to fully participate. Many of our witnesses were truly inspiring and went to extraordinary lengths to be with us, to be heard. And I'd like to thank these witnesses for their contribution to our study. Not only did we study this bill in depth, many of the committee members met on their own initiative with members of the disabled community for months before this study in anticipation of this bill's arrival and in acknowledgement of the historic nature and gravity of this bill. Our colleagues on the committee who worked diligently and with great insight and who understood that our job is to carry the voices and priorities of constituencies along with the application of our best judgment. So that is what we did. Our colleagues proposed amendments, some of which were rejected, many were adopted. And it was not easy. It was not an easy undertaking. It required the courage to resist the strong internal pressure to simply let this bill pass without amendments. Pressure to do nothing and to let the bill go through. Proposed amendments that we, as a committee, felt were needed based on what we heard from our witnesses. Amendments that the government has now, in essence, adopted. You have heard 5 of 6. As Minister Qualtrough put it in her speech in the other place on June the 14th, and I quote, "These amendments enhance Bill C-22 in that they add clarity, precision, and specificity." Close quote. Bill 22 is going to impact the lives of millions of people. It will be, putting hyperbole aside, the difference between life and death for many Canadians with disabilities. It will be historic, not just here in Canada, but on the world stage. And our contribution of clarity, precision, and specificity are absolutely critical. In fact, I'd argue that this is exactly why our institution exists, to make sure bills are precise, clear, and specific, for the good of all Canadians, including and especially for those who are vulnerable and who need us to work on their behalf and to bring their voice forward. So I want to congratulate our colleagues on the Social Affairs Committee for resisting the pressure to do nothing, for doing what you knew was right, despite the often repeated warning that it would kill the bill. Because, colleagues, in a few moments, we will adopt this bill, and it will become law. And it will be a better law, because we were unwilling to stand idly by, because we did our job. Colleagues, we have a privileged, sacred role to play in this place. The Senate has an obligation and a duty to review legislation. Fulfilling our constitutional role must always be front and center. Sometimes this can mean expediting bills, but I believe for the most part it means quite authoritatively, thoughtfully, deliberately, and thoroughly, we must consider every bill before us. Senators, that is how we should be, regardless of the pressure we may face to do otherwise. C-22 provides more Canadians will benefit when we are willing to do what we're summoned to do, to be legislators, to do our role. And this is what I believe Canadians value. And to the thousands of Canadians who continue to email us, urging us to adopt this legislation, continue to let us know and share their concerns. Thank you. It is my hope that we served you well. Like many of you, I was disappointed with the rejection of Amendment 2 and believe that the burden to fight to make sure clawbacks do not occur should not be on your back. Unfortunately, you may still retain that responsibility to ensure that you have full access to this benefit now. Nevertheless, what I've heard loud and clear is that you are ready to take the next steps and to make this benefit what you want it to be. I join with you in calling on the government to put this bill into force on the day it receives royal assent and to begin co-creation of regulations immediately. And should any issues come up, which there may be, you will find many of us here in the Senate of Canada behind you, ready to support you and to see that full potential of the Canada Disability Bill benefit is met. Thank you. Merci, Megwich.